We're all for impromptu.
As you can see.
Yeah.
Just why don't you sit down right here?
It's awesome.
Why don't you sit down right there?
So we've got all, what kind of animals do you think we have live here?
No.
What'd you guys see last night?
Deer!
Oh, you saw
Noah,
deer?
why don't you sit right
Yeah,
here?
we did, right back there.
Noah.
So,
And a baby.
yeah, so we've got lots of deer here at the park, right?
Sit down, you guys. Right here on the ground. Yeah, so right there.
No?
Sit right there and sit right here. Oh, Mama Becky had some of those.
You can actually put your hands on it. So this is a white-tailed deer.
The white parts are...
Yeah. So you ever see them out in the field, and when they start to get spooked when you get up close to them, they start doing this, right? They put their tail up. That white part of their tail. That's why they're called white-tailed deer.
And you
So
guys
what happens is when they put their tail up like that, and you see them running away, and they've got their tails up, that's an alert. So all the other deer that are out in the field, that they can see that. They see that white flagging of the tail. So what do all the other deer do you think? They all start running. That's right.
We saw the deer yesterday. Hey, there was one in the circle.
What was it? One in the circle?
Yeah. That people
Noah.
can make that stuff
So,
out of deer.
Why don't you sit down, buddy?
Sometimes,
Sit down, bub.
so female deer, right? They don't have any antlers on them at all. So when you see them with their smooth head, that means that it's usually a female deer,
We
right?
saw one last night.
But when they're male deer, what do they get?
Horns.
Yeah, so they get big antlers on them. And
Can I
they,
feel it?
yeah. And so they grow, those antlers grow out. Every year they grow. And then about
Mom,
February or
that's like
March,
deer.
what do you think happens?
They fall off.
They fall off. That's exactly it.
And they die.
No, they fall off and then they start growing a whole new set for the next year. And as those deer get bigger, what happens to their antlers usually? Their antlers get bigger. That's exactly it. So they go from
And they
maybe
fall
just
off again.
maybe they go from just one little tine on here, and as they get older and they mature, they start growing more and more and more and more every year. Is that pretty neat?
Baby.
That wasn't neat? I gotta do better? All right. So,
Tough crowd.
how about this guy? You guys live out in Russellville still? How's that?
Live in Sardinia.
Sardinia? Guys ever hear coyotes out there at your house in Sardinia?
No. Not mine.
Yeah, so this is actually a coyote. So coyotes are all over the place here in southern Ohio, out in Brown County, all around the park here. So they look like a dog, right?
Yeah, but they're not.
But they're not. They're actually in the dog family.
We're not at the park. We're at a campsite.
Yeah, you're at a campsite, but you're in the park. This is the park.
And I'm gonna feel his head.
Yep, you can touch it.
I like to really. I'm gonna
Wanna feel his head?
Can I feel inside of his mouth?
So that's a coyote. We got a couple different coyotes here. So
That's gonna taste nice.
this is also a coyote.
This one's a baby one.
He's smaller, but this is also like a later in the year, winter time. So feel this one
We're at a campsite.
and then feel this one. So what's the difference?
This one is.
It's got a lot more hair on it, right? It's got a lot more coat, so it helps him keep warm over the winter time.
I want to feel him in the mouth. I want to feel the nut. I want to feel inside his mouth. Me too, because I want to feel it. I'll feel inside his mouth.
I'll show you some other parts to the coyote here in a minute.
I need to stop it.
So there's two fur bearers, right? So white-tailed deer and coyotes, which we have a bunch of here in the park. What about, let's see, we're going to test your knowledge here. So what about this guy? Raccoons.
Listen, you guys, listen.
Raccoons. So we have a lot of raccoons in the park. A lot of raccoons in this loop, actually. I've caught 2 and relocated them this year.
Oh, wow.
What happens is, the problem is that these raccoons become habituated because everybody's fascinated with them, so what do? They put food out. So then the next weekend, that raccoon keeps coming back because he knows that somebody's going to feed him. So yeah, that's a raccoon. You guys were pretty good on that one.
He doesn't have a mouth.
He doesn't have a mouth. Yeah, it's just the top of him, huh?
That's a baby raccoon.
What is this?
a baby raccoon. The mom raccoon raises the baby raccoon by itself.
Yeah.
It's a bunny.
So these are all animals that are here in the park.
That bunny.
So feel this one, how soft it is.
I want to feel it. Ooh, that's soft.
Yeah.
That can be a puppet.
It could be a puppy. So this is actually a mink.
What's a mink?
So a mink is a little critter that lives in wet areas. He like hangs around creeks, and you'll see him running up and down creeks.
Another one.
Are there minks around this area?
Yeah, we've got
What is
a
that
lot
I didn't know that.
of mink here in Claremont County. A lot of guys used to trap them all.
Used to drop them.
There's just no money in furs anymore. So,
What is that one?
Rain and leaves.
Same thing.
so what do you think about this guy?
So,
Have you ever been driving down the road and all of a sudden you see something come running across the road? Or sometimes they're up on the, you'll see them out in the field kind of hanging out.
That's funny.
It's a groundhog.
Oh, I know this.
So feel his fur compared to that one. See how it's a little bit coarser?
And that part looks like a wolf.
It looks like a wolf. Well, we don't have any wolves here in East Fork.
That's soft.
It's soft.
That's pretty good.
So
That's a possum.
that's a possum. That's right.
What is this?
So you see possum all the time, right? Around a lot of times at nighttime, and they've got a big white tail out behind them.
Just put that out at nighttime.
Yeah. See how soft that one is. So possums are
I can
actually
feel
very nice. Everybody gets freaked out about possums. Possum are actually nice. They are.
Should I feel inside? Are they scared of us?
Their hiss is scary, but that's
I want to feel it. I want to feel inside.
They're what? Yeah, their hiss is scary, but they're actually very nice.
Possums are also more so
They are.
I think I went to a store and I think I picked up
Gotta add my 2
one
cents.
at a pet store. What is that? A squirrel.
What kind of squirrel?
Noah.
A
Noah.
a sardine one.
What color?
A sardine one. A sardine squirrel.
Noah.
So let's see.
Is it actually one?
I don't know.
What color is it?
It's a red.
2 different squirrels. So
Oh,
No.
that one's fluffier
No.
than one.
what's the difference?
No, it's
Can I hold one?
What
color is it?
Shake it.
So what color is it?
Gray.
It's gray. So that is a gray squirrel.
Look.
So what color is the tail on this one?
Brown.
I saw
Brown, orange. So somebody, what's Dad gonna call it?
Red tail.
Red-tailed squirrel. It's actually a fox squirrel. Yeah.
He's flying. He's flying. Look, he's flying.
It's a flying squirrel? No flying squirrels here. Oh, they're not very
Come down.
How about this little guy?
Oh, he's a long animal. People use them as pets.
It's not a ferret.
It's one of those things that...
It's actually, we got our furs mixed up. This is actually a muskrat, and this one's a mink.
I can't feel it.
Yep, you can feel it.
And he has a butt.
Jason. Did you watch it too?
Lots of guys that live in East Fork that have furs so far, huh?
Yeah. But that one...
We'll keep going.
Is there a snake?
Nope, the snakes have fur.
No.
No. So,
Jason found a snake skin once, and I tried to scare him.
you alright? So
It's probably
this guy you see around in the campground, that's a fox. So a lot of times here in the campground, you'll actually see them along the main road here at night. They cross over back and forth because they're out hunting around at night.
Be easy with the stuff, okay? You guys gotta be gentle.
Can I go in his mouth? Is his mouth...
So we also have another species of fox here in Claremont County and in the park. So
Red fox.
this is a red fox, right?
Yeah, and that one's a...
So that's right, a gray fox. We actually have gray fox here in East Fork State Park. So they look kind of the
It's
same.
a bad fox, but this one has a different color.
Yeah, so he's got the gray to him. And the other thing is, what's his tail look like? So look at his tail, how he's got all these different little stripes down his tail. Yeah.
Is he good?
Yeah, he
I
won't
want to
hurt
feel
you.
it. I want to feel it. Fox actually do hurt you.
Huh? Fox don't hurt you. They'll actually run as fast as they can to get away from you.
Yeah, unless there's white foam coming out of it.
Like chickens.
Yeah.
Here's a big cup. I petted chicken once.
You petted a chicken once? Now, so, out swimming around on the water in the lake because
Guys, listen up.
part of the park is the big lake, right?
Yeah.
So we
That's
have,
a bear.
no, not a bear, but we have these guys out swimming around on the lake. A beaver, that's exactly it.
I know these.
Feel his fur and how soft it is. Feel how it's all nice and thick so it keeps him dry when he's swimming around. So he's got
Hi.
a big tail that sticks out behind him, and then he's got teeth that cut down trees, and he builds beaver
Cameron,
huts.
let's put our listening ears on.
And we
Did
actually,
you cut his mouth off?
did I cut his mouth off? No, I didn't cut his mouth off. So we have quite a few beavers here.
What is that one?
Oh yeah.
What is that one?
Hey kids,
So
put your
I'll
listening
show you
ears on.
a beaver skull here in a minute. You can get a look at their teeth. I mean, they are the kings of moving things.
What is that one?
So
That
looks
is-
like a fox.
but it ain't.
So
cat.
this is a cat.
Yeah.
Look how short his tail is.
I had a cat like tail.
They got him at the zoo.
Is that
We've got him here in the park.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So what do you think this is?
A bobcat.
It's a bobcat. That's
Bobcat.
exactly it. And why do you think they call it a bobcat?
Because they bob for fishing.
Nope.
Because his name is Bob.
Why do you think they call it a bobcat?
Look at his
Look at his
tail.
tail.
It's a bobcat.
Because of his tail. See, his tail's bobbed, right? How long's a cat's tail normally? About yay long,
My
right?
cat's tail is that. But that one's so
So-
little. That's why.
So
it's a
his
bobcat.
tail is bobbed real short. That's how he gets his name, a bobcat.
Isn't he big? I don't like
So
how it's a bobcat.
this is actually an adult bobcat. This is about as big as they get.
Can I feel inside his mouth? Is he good?
He is pretty big. Look at the underside of him, how he's all spotted. So, a guy flagged me down and he says, "Do we have bobcats here?" And I said, "Yeah, we've actually seen them a few times." He said, "Well, we just saw one over when they were like looking out in the woods." Probably all seen before. What about this guy?
Once I got sprayed by one.
You got sprayed by one? Yeah, so these guys are all over the place, aren't they?
They're everywhere.
They're everywhere.
I saw a squirrel dead on the floor, on the road. In the face. You see
Sprayed
you?
Huh?
One dead on the field.
What's that?
What? What'd you say, baby?
One dead on the road? Yeah, so
And they stinky.
so if you noticed, like here just recently, you started seeing a lot of them dead on the road. Usually about twice a year you'll start seeing them. It's mating time. So those skunks are coming out and they're moving around at night. They're looking for mates, and that's they get hit on the road. We already saw one. Test time. Raccoon, right? This one's a little bit bigger than the one that we had
Yeah,
in
and
there.
it
though.
has a different stripe on it.
It has a different stripe.
That's the one I saw once.
I've got a big bag of tricks, don't I?
Can I put my hand in him? Can I put my hand in him? Can I put my hand in him? Scientist.
Huh?
Not scientist.
Well, sure I am.
He knows
science.
about animals.
That's what a naturalist does.
You search for the bones. How did that
I
get
do.
there?
So we
How did
talked.
that get there?
How did that panda get here in East Fork?
Yeah, there's definitely no pandas here.
A dinosaur? No, it's not a dinosaur.
It looks like a dinosaur.
So let's put some of these together. That's Bob, Judanian Bob.
Yeah. I put the
So you see about the size he is. That's how big his skull actually is.
His head looks little, but the skull looks little.
His head looks, but his body looks bigger than his head, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yep, that's his head.
Why